I dropped my chair on accident. I fell, and then my chair fell too. Babe, I love you. Welcome back. I figured I'd flip the script. Normally it's me jumping into the chair, so today I thought the chair would jump. That was the joke that was in my mind. And then my wife made it actually funny. Now, if you're thinking that was scripted or something, and like my wife, like perfectly yelling at me from the other room, being faintly hearable, is something I have the capacity to plan, you're greatly mistaken. First of all, my wife would never do anything I ask her to do along those lines. If I tell my wife we're doing a bit for the, she will immediately say, "Don't even remotely try to talk to me about this." That is just so you know the situation over here. That's not an option. She's not one of my actors. Let's just say. Now, the reason I'm so willing to destroy my chair now is because the arm broke after all this time after all this time. I guess you can't see it. After all this time of bashing the chair, the arm finally broke. Now, I am not normally destructive of my property, although it is making me laugh. But the reason I'm really doing it is because I have to get rid of this chair, and I to be fair, I don't have a replacement chair. Welcome to the show. My name is Brendan Mitchell. I make a video every day. I'm losing 80 pounds. Some of the videos are about losing 80 pounds. Some of them are kind of more like vlogs, especially when I'm super busy, like I have been the past few weeks. The channel has taken a bit of a dip, but it's just the way it goes. Things are getting better, though. This is, we're on the come up. Things are going pretty good right now. I, sometimes make videos that are closer to more YouTube style content. That's what I'm leaning towards, but let's get the 80 pounds out of the way first, right? Diet update, where I'm at diet-wise. We should talk about that first, right? I should probably start almost every video this way. I often forget that's why I make videos. Isn't that strange? I just finished eating a bit above maintenance to maintenance for about a week, just under a week, 5 days or so. Feel fat as shit right now. I just feel fat as hell. You know that feeling when someone's like, "You want to go here?" and you just go, "I don't want to leave that. I look like shit." So pretty fragile mind I have when it comes to the way I feel mentally after I've eaten a certain way for just a couple days. And it's always a mix in my head. It's like, am I actually bloated? But then it's like, I don't even really, to be perfectly honest, I don't even have a very good, I don't have a very good perception of my own body mechanics. Like, I barely even know when I'm cold. I'm like desensitized to all. I'm just a clown. Let's just leave it at that. So I'm not feeling very good about my body, but I am still fitting into newer clothes. Every week that goes by, clothes that couldn't fit me as well are fitting me a bit better. And I feel very good physically. I hurt my back, but I was able to really kind of get things back on track within just a couple days. So the back injury was so minor. And the last time I felt that kind of pain, it lasted a pretty long time. And it's good because the injury also taught me a lesson. I was doing something very foolish with my squat that I just never thought about ever in my life. And now I know to think about it. So it's like, you gotta accept things like that as lessons. This chair, I didn't sit in it for a year because I hurt my back so bad and I couldn't sit. And this chair, I think, was one of the reasons. This chair is way too big for me, amongst other things. These gaming chairs are garbage. I sit in it cross-legged 90% of the time because I'm so tiny. Tiny, vertically. But yeah, I mean, I'm destroyed it by jumping into it on videos. So now I'm just going to keep the bit going until we're going to keep destroying the chair bit by bit until the chair is just completely eviscerated and I have to replace it with like a $5 stool. Unfortunately, I don't think the channel's in a point now where I could like crowdsource a chair from the viewers. I think we're pretty far away from that. So I'll get like a $5 stool or some shit on. I could steal my wife's chair because she's leaving for like a couple weeks to visit her folks. Her folks live in China. That's why she goes for a couple weeks. You don't want to go to China for a weekend. I could use her chair, but it's like this. It's like my chair except for like children because she's a child-sized person. She's taller than me. But where are we? What are we at today? I feel pretty good. There's a lot. The past few weeks have been marked by a great deal of change and also some important personal revelations. I've just been realizing more and more how inconsistent I could be mentally and emotionally. I'm a very deadpan individual with almost no sense of how I feel in any given situation, but I also can be intensely manic. And when I'm on the downside of a manic phase, I just sort of I fade like 70%. Like if you could turn like when you're taking a picture and you're making it transparent, that's what I do. I just become 70% transparent, and then instead of that, when I switch, I go to 300% contrast. That's the way my brain works. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what that means, but just take it as it is, okay? Um, Tomorrow we're lifting. I'm going to do another very simple lift day, nothing crazy, very low weights. Still feel very weak from my back. It also is probably largely psychological, but next week we're getting right back into the heavy stuff, albeit with a bit more caution, and of course with the knowledge of how I tweaked myself just a week ago. um, Production value on lifting days is going to skyrocket relatively soon, hopefully in the next few weeks. Just because I feel like it's kind of a layup to have much higher production quality on videos where I know exactly what the video is meant to be, and it will clarify the channel a little bit. I know that a lot of my videos, if you've been watching, have been very much so about the channel and about making videos, but it's just because I'm hitting a point where I've made almost 70 consecutive videos, and I'm realizing that I need to be very intelligent and articulate, consistent, scheduled, regimented, to adequately uphold my end of life with the videos. And I knew that from the get-go, right? But there's a difference between knowing and experiencing, which is another great lesson in life. You never know how you're going to act in any situation. No plan works day of. If you've ever been a part of a large organization, or if you've ever dedicated yourself to something extremely difficult on your own, you know as well as anyone that the day of any large event, it goes a different way. But preparation does help with that. So that is kind of what I've been doing in my mind, and also in my personal life to prepare for these things. Um, Otherwise, I feel all right. I feel pretty good. I am wearing the Hawaiian shirt that by now, I'm not going to lie to you, this shirt, I did my laundry 2 days ago. I forgot to do it. This shirt is really gross. It's really not okay that I'm wearing this right now, but you know what? I'm going to do whatever I want. My wife is leaving for a few weeks, and I guess I can talk about that to an extent. When I feel that when I'm alone, I'm significantly more productive. No, you know, not I'm not I'm not trying to put down my goddamn spouse here, but I am definitely by my nature a solitary person. I like to be alone and do things alone, and it was a great lesson and great experience to learn how much it affects you to share space with another person. I mean, we've been together for over a decade now, or about a decade now, so it's not like it's something new. But living together is its own thing, and it changes dramatically throughout. As years goes by, you learn more and more about each other until you get to a point where there's almost nothing left to learn. Um, but I will be able to ramp up my productivity in a big way, and because I'll be significantly more productive and in control of my environment, I'm gonna have to do a lot of work around the house. Whenever my wife goes away, I'll clean the entire house top to bottom. I'll spend like literally 2 days on each room, and I'll completely eviscerate the room and re-clean it. And I'm gonna do a lot of things like that over the next few weeks while she's gone. She leaves next week, and I'm also going to be able to use that time to focus more on videos as well. Um, Anyone who lives with a partner knows that you're 40% available because you have a partner. That's just reality. Um, Equally, I would like to also somehow reflect that extra time into my diet and exercise. You know, can I up the ante a little bit? It's been almost 70 days. I've probably lost about a pound a week, give or take. Probably a pound and a half sometimes, and a half a pound other times. I'm not upset at all. My progress is perfectly what I had anticipated. It's certainly what I deserve. But is it time to make use of Cora, my wife, being gone? Because I don't have to worry about what she's eating. Not that she, forces me to eat unhealthy or something like that, but when you live alone, I could literally, I'm a dog. I'll eat like tuna out of a can and go, I'm good. Like I don't need to function like a normal person anymore for a little while she's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think maybe I will take the month to tune the diet down a little bit less calories, but then there's another part of me that's like, is that foolish? You're doing 1600. Is it foolish to do that now? Is it still too early? I did say I wanted to get below 200 before I messed with my 1600 number. Maybe I give it a little bit more time. I certainly could lift for longer periods of time. I could add more cardio. So something along those lines. I would like to do something that I would like to, kind of up the ante a little bit. you know, so I'm open to suggestions. I'd like to speed things up a little bit, get the engine roaring a little bit while I've got all this time to myself. I guess that's all I'm looking to say today. I know it's another very, very chill one, but it's important I do these. It's important I get these out of the way in the sense of some of these days, this is what I've got time for, and I'm happy to have a little, almost therapeutic little chat with the viewers. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Tomorrow is a big day, big lift, and I hope to see you tomorrow. And I hope you stick around. And thanks for joining me.